Hey guys, it's your girl Nikki, and I'm going to preface this video by saying that I am elevated to the edge of space, and I love that for me. So when I'm elevated to the edge of space, it always gets me thinking, and so I got to thinking, and what I got to thinking about was this White House Correspondents' Dinner that happened over the weekend. And it got me thinking about all these journalists, I use that term loosely and lightly, obviously. It got me thinking about all these journalists who went to this dinner. Why? Why were you there? And of course, I'm not talking about the people from Fox or OAN or Newsmax, obviously. But I'm talking about people like Wolf Blitzer and Kristen Welker. And I bring up Kristen Welker particularly because Kristen Welker is very melanated. I don't know her ethnicity. I don't concern myself with things like that. But if I had to guess, she's Indian or maybe Pakistani. I really don't know. But she's very melanated. And she is yucking it up with Stephen Goebbels, the architect of, putting brown shirts in the streets, just rounding up innocent people to lock away in concentration camps indefinitely. Yeah, she's yucking it up with him, just laughing. Hi, Kristen? Yeah, if he could, he would put your melanated ass into one of those concentration camps too. So you should really think on that a little bit, you dumb bitch. Wolf Blitzer's there. Why? Why? What? Oh my God, they sat there, listened to him do his weird ass monologue of just insults, like he's insult the comic dog, which, I'm sorry, that's an insult to insult the comic dog, isn't it? So they had to sit there and listen to him for what? Somebody said an hour? I don't know. Of him just, hurling insults at journalists. And, some of them were laughing, applauding, not robustly, but still, why at all? Then he's handing out awards to exceptional journalists for their exceptional journalism. And was nobody feeling like they were living in the upside down in that moment, collecting an award from Orange Hitler for exceptional journalism when he recently was trying to put people from the New York Times or the New York Post? Listen, I can't keep track of all the details, okay? But wasn't he just trying to throw some motherfuckers in jail because they didn't want to give up their sources? And he's always calling the press the enemy of the state, the enemy of the people. Never mind the personal attacks on them, calling women piggies. And these people went and broke bread with these evil motherfuckers. And these press people wonder, these journalists wonder why we the people have no faith in them. Now listen, I have never thought the White House Correspondents' Dinner thing was ever a good idea. The journalists their job, they're the fourth estate. Your job is a check and a balance on all those other motherfuckers. And if you're yucking it up with them and making friends, you're not going to be able to do your job correctly, unbiasedly. Because once you're friends with somebody, your instinct is to protect them, not tear them down or destroy them, you know? And sometimes when you're a journalist, you gotta destroy somebody and tear them down, you know? Because Stephen Goebbels, aka Stephen Miller, that motherfucker needs to be torn the fuck down by you, Kristen Welker. But instead, you're having drinks and laughs and breaking bread with these motherfuckers instead. With a guy who would look at your melanated skin and want to send you to a death camp because he's a Nazi and a racist. So it's just a conflict of interest, journalists and politicians hanging out together. It just is. And this correspondence dinner has always just been like a thing, like a thorn in my side. It's just always proof that you're not going to get full truth, full honesty, because call me crazy, but I feel like I don't know how the White House Correspondents' Dinner started, but I feel like the government was heavily involved in this to create some kind of, like, they understood, if we befriend each other, you will be less likely to attack me. So let's have this dinner together and celebrate the First Amendment. Cut to 2026 with Orange Hitler. This motherfucker hates the First Amendment. And all these journalists are there celebrating the First Amendment with a Nazi dictator who doesn't believe in the First Amendment. So the White House Correspondents' Dinner has just always been icky to me. I've never liked it. It's a conflict of interest. Your job as a journalist is to keep these politicians in check. You are to hold them to account. You're almost like the court jester. Your job is to hold their feet to the fire and knock them down a peg or two, to remind them that the only reason you exist in any form of power is because the people allow it. But you'll stop asking your hard-hitting questions when you become friendly with these people. And some people even have relationships with politicians. How can you be a journalist and have a relationship with a politician? And all these journalists, they're like, why? Why doesn't the public trust us? Bitch, because you are literally at a dinner with a wannabe Nazi dictator who would love to throw all of you in jail, except for the ones who, suck his dick. Fox, OAN, Newsmax, they can stay out of jail. But the rest of y'all, he wants to put the rest of you in jail. I'm so confused by all of this. Does anybody have any morals or ethics anymore? Does anybody have anything that they believe in anymore? And I'm not talking about the general public. I'm talking about these motherfuckers, these journalists. Does anybody stand on 10 toes anymore? Because it doesn't appear that they do. You know, like I said, I have never liked the White House Correspondents' Dinner because I always feel like it creates a conflict of interest, and I almost feel like this was put together by the government to create that conflict of interest, to protect government itself, you know, and our government is totally shady enough to do that. So, in general, I don't like the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Just in general, I just don't. So, this is even worse. I mean, at least having dinner with Obama, he probably is actually celebrating the First Amendment. But then I have to think, Obama did put a few journalists in jail. Yeah, he was no angel either, but, compared to Orange Hitler, he's a fucking saint. But this particular White House Correspondents' Dinner, it's really eating at me because they should all know better. They should all know better. And now I have even less faith in journalism than I did before I knew this. Where are our Tim Russerts? Barbara Walters. Oh my God. Edward R. Murrow. Where are they? Remember Tim Russert on Meet the Press? Man, he held everybody's feet to the fire. Democrats and Republicans alike. He didn't let anybody try to just slide by. He held everybody to account. Nobody should have showed up to this Correspondents' Dinner except for Orange Hitler and his regime. Especially after what happened the first time they tried to have the dinner with the fake shooting, the mockery of that, the insult to the American people, the constant gaslighting, the constant mental, psychological abuse. And then you went back to this one. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Because the real story should have been White House Correspondents' Dinner. No White House correspondents show up. Not one journalist shows up. That is what you should have done. That was the correct move. And instead, you all showed your greedy, power-hungry asses. So don't look all surprised anymore when you see polls that say nobody trusts you. Nobody trusts you because we have no fucking reason to trust you.